Jill Duggar, a well-known figure from the Duggar family of TLC's *19 Kids and Counting*, has recently made headlines after confirming that her children are no longer attending public school. This decision has sparked significant debate among fans and critics alike. While Jill's choices as a parent have always drawn attention due to her high-profile upbringing, this particular move seems to have ignited strong reactions across social media platforms and beyond. The announcement came quietly, but was enough to stir curiosity. Jill revealed through an Instagram post that she and her husband, Derick Dilard, had decided to pull their kids out of the traditional public education system. She expressed gratitude for the time they spent in public school, but emphasized that homeschooling felt like the right choice for their family moving forward. The couple cited several reasons behind their decision, including wanting more control over their children's curriculum, fostering a closer-knit family environment, and instilling values they believe align with their faith and lifestyle. For many followers of the Duggars, this shift might not come as a complete surprise. After all, Jill grew up in one of the most famous homeschooling families in America. Her parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, famously homeschooled all 19 of their children, adhering to strict Christian principles while prioritizing hands-on learning tailored to each child's needs. Given her background, it seems natural that Jill would consider following in her parents' footsteps when it comes to educating her own offspring. However, not everyone sees this move as a positive step, or even a logical one. Critics were quick to voice their opinions, flooding comment sections and online forums with skepticism about Jill's decision. Some questioned whether removing her children from public school was truly in their best interest, pointing out the importance of exposure to diverse perspectives and experiences that public schools can provide. Others accused Jill of isolating her kids within a bubble, suggesting that shielding them from broader societal influences could hinder their ability to navigate the real world later in life. A common refrain among detractors is that homeschooling often limits opportunities for socialization, which is crucial for developing interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence. Another point of contention revolves around the motivations behind Jill's choice. Many critics argue that her decision may be rooted less in educational concerns and more in ideological ones. As members of a deeply conservative Christian household, both Jill and Derick have been vocal about their desire to raise their children according to specific religious teachings. For some observers, this raises questions about whether the couple intends to use homeschooling as a means of indoctrination rather than fostering critical thinking and open-mindedness. Critics worry that such an approach could leave the children ill-prepared to engage with differing viewpoints or adapt to secular environments in adulthood. Additionally, there's the issue of academic rigor. Homeschooling, though increasingly popular, remains a polarizing topic because its quality varies widely depending on the parents' commitment and capabilities. While some homeschooling setups rival or exceed traditional schooling in terms of structure and challenge, others fall short, leaving gaps in students' knowledge and preparedness. Critics fear that without proper oversight or accountability, Jill's children might miss out on key aspects of a comprehensive education. They also question whether Jill and Derick, neither of whom appear to have formal teaching credentials, are equipped to handle subjects like advanced mathematics, science, or foreign languages effectively. Supporters of Jill's decision, however, see things differently. Fans of the Duggar family applaud her choice, viewing it as a testament to her dedication as a mother who wants to prioritize her children's spiritual and moral development. They argue that homeschooling allows for a more personalized approach to education, enabling parents to tailor lessons to their children's unique strengths and interests. Supporters also highlight the flexibility homeschooling offers, allowing families to incorporate field trips, hands-on projects, and other enriching activities that traditional classrooms might struggle to accommodate. Moreover, defenders of Jill's decision stress that homeschooling does not inherently mean isolation. Many homeschooling families actively participate in co-ops, sports teams, music lessons, and community events, ensuring their children still interact with peers regularly. In fact, some argue that these interactions can be more meaningful than those found in overcrowded public schools, where individual connections often take a backseat to institutional demands. Despite the ongoing controversy, Jill appears unfazed by the backlash. In subsequent posts, she has reiterated her belief that every family should have the freedom to choose what works best for them. She encouraged her followers to focus on supporting one another rather than tearing down decisions they don't fully understand. Her message underscores a broader cultural tension between personal autonomy and societal expectations, a tension that shows no signs of easing anytime soon. Ultimately, Jill Duggar's decision to homeschool her children reflects a complex interplay of personal values, familial traditions, and practical considerations. Whether her critics approve or not, the reality is that education remains a deeply personal matter, shaped by countless factors unique to each family. What works for one household may not work for another, and imposing rigid standards risks overlooking the diversity of human experience. Still, the conversation surrounding Jill's choice highlights important questions about the role of education in shaping future generations, and how society balances individual freedoms with collective responsibilities. As the debate continues to unfold, one thing is certain: Jill Duggar's journey as a parent will remain under intense scrutiny, reflecting broader anxieties and aspirations about parenting, faith, and the evolving landscape of modern education. Michelle Duggar had always been a woman of faith, resilience, and unwavering devotion to her family. When the news reached Arkansas that Duggar Vuolo, her fourth child and one of her beloved daughters, was preparing to welcome her third child into the world, Michelle didn't hesitate for a moment. She packed her bags with care, folding neatly pressed dresses and practical essentials into her suitcase, all while praying fervently for safe travels and a smooth delivery. The journey from Northwest Arkansas to Southern California would be long, but nothing could keep her away from this momentous occasion. The drive to the airport was quiet but filled with anticipation. Jim Bob, her husband of nearly 4 decades, accompanied her partway, offering words of encouragement as they discussed their excitement about meeting their newest grandchild. Though he couldn't join her on the trip due to prior commitments at home, his support was palpable. "You tell Duggar we're so proud of her," he said before giving her a warm hug goodbye. Michelle nodded, touched by his thoughtfulness, and promised to pass along his love. As she boarded the plane, Michelle felt a mix of emotions swirling within her: joy, nostalgia, and even a tinge of nervousness. It wasn't just another flight across the country, it was a pilgrimage of sorts, a chance to witness the miracle of life once again. Her mind wandered back to when Duggar was born, the memories vivid despite the years that had passed. She recalled holding her tiny daughter for the first time, marveling at how God had blessed their growing family yet again. Now, here she was, preparing to stand beside Duggar as she embraced motherhood herself. The flight offered plenty of time for reflection. Michelle gazed out the window, watching clouds drift lazily below as thoughts of her own parenting journey unfolded in her mind. Raising 19 children had been no small feat, and there were moments of exhaustion, doubt, and overwhelming responsibility. But through it all, her faith had anchored her, reminding her daily of the purpose behind their large family. Each child, including Duggar, had brought unique joys and challenges, shaping her into the woman she was today. Duggar's decision to move to California and start a new chapter far from the familiar rhythms of Arkansas had initially surprised Michelle. For someone who valued tradition and close-knit family ties, seeing her daughter embrace such a different lifestyle was both bittersweet and inspiring. Yet over time, Michelle came to admire Duggar's courage and independence. Her marriage to Jeremy Vuolo, a former soccer player turned pastor, seemed like a beautiful union rooted in shared values and mutual respect. Together, they were building a life that honored God while forging their own path. Upon landing in Los Angeles, Michelle was greeted by the warm California sun streaming through the terminal windows. She retrieved her luggage and made her way to the car rental desk, where she opted for a modest sedan rather than something flashy or extravagant. Practicality had always been second nature to her, and she saw no reason to change now. As she navigated the highways leading toward Rancho Cucamonga, where Duggar and Jeremy lived, she marveled at the stark contrast between this bustling urban landscape and the serene countryside of Tontatone, Arkansas. When she finally arrived at their home, a cozy suburban house surrounded by palm trees and manicured lawns, Michelle felt a wave of relief wash over her. Duggar greeted her at the door, radiant despite the late stage of her pregnancy. They embraced tightly, tears welling up in both their eyes. "Mom, I'm so glad you're here," Duggar whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Michelle smiled softly, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "I wouldn't miss this for the world," she replied. Inside, the house buzzed with activity. Jeremy was busy setting up the nursery, meticulously arranging stuffed animals and blankets in preparation for the baby's arrival. Their two older children, Felicity and Shepherd, played happily nearby, oblivious to the significance of the day ahead. Michelle took a moment to soak it all in, the laughter, the love, the sense of anticipation hanging in the air. It reminded her of her own early days as a mother, when every milestone felt monumental and every challenge brought opportunities for growth. Over dinner that evening, the conversation flowed easily. Michelle listened intently as Duggar shared updates about her pregnancy, expressing gratitude for her health and the support of her husband. Jeremy chimed in occasionally, sharing anecdotes from his pastoral work and offering lighthearted jokes to keep the mood cheerful. Despite the distance between them, Michelle realized how much she admired the way Duggar and Jeremy balanced their roles as parents, partners, and individuals. They embodied grace under pressure, a quality she hoped to impart to all her children. The next morning dawned bright and clear, signaling the beginning of what promised to be an unforgettable day. After breakfast, Michelle accompanied Duggar to the hospital, where doctors confirmed that labor was progressing steadily. Settling into the birthing suite, Michelle prayed silently, asking for strength and peace for everyone involved. Hours passed in a blur of contractions, breathing exercises, and encouraging words. Through it all, Michelle remained steadfast, offering gentle reminders of God's presence and provision. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the sound of a newborn's cry filled the room. Tears streamed down Michelle's face as she watched Duggar cradle her baby, a healthy baby boy, against her chest. In that sacred moment, surrounded by love and wonder, Michelle felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. This was more than just the birth of a child. It was the continuation of a legacy, a testament to the enduring bonds of family and faith. As the hours turned into days, Michelle cherished every opportunity to bond with her grandson. She marveled at his tiny features, noting subtle resemblances to Duggar and Jeremy. Holding him close, she whispered prayers over him, asking God to guide and protect him throughout his life. She also took time to connect with Duggar, discussing the realities of postpartum recovery and offering advice gleaned from years of experience. Their conversations were honest and heartfelt, strengthening the already deep connection between mother and daughter. Before returning to Arkansas, Michelle helped tidy up the house, ensuring everything was in order for Duggar's transition back home. She spent one last afternoon playing with Felicity and Shepherd, delighting in their giggles and boundless energy. As she hugged each member of the family goodbye, she felt a pang of sadness, knowing she'd soon be separated from them by miles. But she reminded herself that distance couldn't diminish the love they shared. On the flight back to Arkansas, Michelle reflected on the profound impact of the past week. Attending Duggar's birth had been a gift beyond measure, reaffirming her belief in the beauty of family and the power of faith. Though her role as a mother had evolved over the years, her commitment to nurturing and supporting her children remained unchanged. And as she looked forward to future visits and milestones, she carried with her the knowledge that love transcends boundaries, uniting hearts across generations and geography. In the end, Michelle knew that being present for Jinger's special moment wasn't just about celebrating the arrival of a new baby. It was about honoring the journey of parenthood itself. From the highs to the lows, the triumphs to the trials, it was a journey marked by sacrifice, patience, and unconditional love. And for Michelle Duggar, there was no greater privilege than walking alongside her children as they navigated its twists and turns, hand in hand, heart to heart. Jill Duggar, one of the most recognizable members of the Duggar family from TLC's *19 Kids and Counting*, has long been a figure of public interest. Her journey as a mother, wife, and homeschooling advocate reflects her deeply held values, while also showcasing her adaptability in navigating life's challenges. Despite initially enrolling her oldest child in public school, a decision that surprised many given her family's traditional roots, Jill ultimately transitioned to homeschooling her children. This shift highlights her commitment to providing a tailored education for her kids, even as she balances her faith, family traditions, and personal convictions. The Duggar family has always been synonymous with conservative Christian values, large families, and an emphasis on home-centered living. For Jill, these principles have guided much of her parenting philosophy. However, like any parent, she has faced decisions unique to her circumstances and the needs of her growing family. Her choice to begin with public schooling, but later embrace homeschooling, underscores the complexities of modern parenting within a traditional framework. It also offers insight into how parents navigate educational options, weighing external influences against their own beliefs and aspirations for their children. To understand Jill's approach to education, it is essential to consider her upbringing in the Duggar household. As the ninth child of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, Jill grew up in a highly structured environment where faith, discipline, and family were paramount. The Duggars famously adhered to a strict set of rules governing everything from dress codes to media consumption, all rooted in their evangelical Christian beliefs. Education played a crucial role in this system, with most of the Duggar children being homeschooled under the guidance of their parents or local co-ops. Homeschooling was not merely an academic choice for the Duggars. It was a lifestyle decision aligned with their desire to shield their children from what they perceived as negative societal influences. By educating them at home, the Duggars ensured that their curriculum incorporated biblical teachings and reinforced their worldview. Growing up in such an environment undoubtedly shaped Jill's perspective on raising her own children. Yet, despite these formative years, Jill demonstrated a willingness to explore alternative paths when it came to her family's educational journey. When Jill and her husband, Derick Dilard, welcomed their first child, Israel David, in 2015, they embraced parenthood with enthusiasm and determination. Like many new parents, they carefully considered the best way to nurture their son's development, including his education. To the surprise of many fans, Jill decided to enroll Israel in public kindergarten when he reached school age. At the time, this marked a departure from the Duggar norm, sparking curiosity and debate among followers of the family. There are several possible reasons behind Jill's initial choice to send Israel to public school. One factor may have been practicality. Homeschooling requires significant time, energy, and resources, which can be challenging for parents juggling multiple responsibilities. With 3 young children by 2023, including Israel, Samuel, born in 2017, and Ivy, born in 2020, Jill likely recognized the demands of managing both her household and her children's education. Enrolling Israel in public school allowed her to focus on caring for her younger children while ensuring he received a structured learning experience. Another consideration could have been socialization. While homeschooling provides ample opportunities for interaction through extracurricular activities and co-ops, public school offers a broader peer group and diverse experiences. For some parents, this exposure is seen as beneficial for developing interpersonal skills and fostering independence. Given Jill's relatively progressive stance compared to other members of her family, it's plausible that she valued the social benefits of public education for her son. Public reaction to Jill's decision was mixed. Some supporters praised her openness to exploring different educational models, viewing it as evidence of her thoughtful approach to parenting. Others expressed concern, questioning whether public school aligned with the Duggars' conservative values. Regardless of the criticism, Jill remained steadfast in her belief that she was making the right choice for her family at the time. Despite her initial foray into public education, Jill eventually made the decision to transition Israel, and subsequently her younger children, to homeschooling. This shift occurred after careful reflection on her family's priorities and the unique needs of her children. In interviews and social media posts, Jill has emphasized her desire to provide a faith-based education that aligns with her values while allowing for flexibility and individualized attention. One key motivator for switching to homeschooling appears to be her commitment to integrating religious teachings into her children's daily lives. Unlike public schools, which must adhere to secular curricula, homeschooling enables Jill to incorporate Bible study, prayer, and moral lessons into every aspect of her children's education. This approach ensures that their academic pursuits are intertwined with spiritual growth, reinforcing the foundation she hopes to instill in them. Additionally, Jill has highlighted the importance of tailoring education to each child's strengths and interests. Homeschooling allows her to customize lesson plans, pacing, and teaching methods to suit Israel's learning style, something that might be difficult to achieve in a traditional classroom setting. For example, if Israel excels in math but struggles with reading comprehension, Jill can adjust the curriculum accordingly without feeling constrained by standardized timelines or benchmarks. Flexibility is another major advantage of homeschooling that resonates with Jill's lifestyle. With a busy schedule that includes church activities, family gatherings, and community events, having the freedom to structure her children's school day around these commitments is invaluable. Homeschooling also eliminates concerns about bullying, peer pressure, or exposure to content that conflicts with her beliefs, issues that sometimes arise in public schools. While homeschooling offers numerous benefits, it is not without its challenges. For Jill, balancing the roles of teacher, mother, and homemaker requires immense dedication and organization. Crafting engaging lesson plans, maintaining discipline, and keeping track of progress can be demanding, especially with multiple children at different stages of development. Moreover, the lack of built-in support systems found in traditional schools means Jill must seek out resources, networks, and extracurricular opportunities to supplement her efforts. Financial considerations may also come into play. Homeschooling often necessitates purchasing materials, joining co-ops, or hiring tutors for specialized subjects like music or advanced mathematics. While Jill and Derick seem financially stable thanks to their entrepreneurial ventures and online presence, these costs still require careful budgeting and planning. That said, the rewards of homeschooling appear to outweigh the difficulties for Jill. She frequently shares glimpses of her family's homeschooling journey on social media, highlighting moments of joy, discovery, and connection. Whether it's taking nature walks to learn about science, baking cookies to practice fractions, or reading Bible stories together, Jill embraces the hands-on, experiential aspects of teaching her children. These activities not only foster a love of learning, but also strengthen the bond between her and her kids. Jill's decision to homeschool her children reflects broader trends in American education, particularly among families seeking alternatives to conventional schooling. According to data from the National Center for Education Statistics, the number of homeschooled students in the United States has steadily increased over the past decade, driven by factors such as dissatisfaction with public schools, health concerns during the pandemic, and a desire for greater control over educational content. Religious motivations remain a primary driver for many homeschooling families, including those like Jill who prioritize faith-based instruction. At the same time, Jill's story illustrates the evolving nature of homeschooling itself. Once viewed as a fringe movement associated with extreme ideologies, homeschooling has gained mainstream acceptance as a viable option for diverse families. Today, parents choose to homeschool for a wide range of reasons, from addressing special needs to pursuing unconventional lifestyles. Jill's blend of traditional values and modern sensibilities exemplifies this diversity, proving that homeschooling can adapt to meet the needs of contemporary families. As Jill continues her homeschooling journey, she remains committed to nurturing her children's intellectual, emotional, and spiritual growth. Her willingness to experiment with different educational approaches demonstrates her adaptability and dedication as a parent. While her path may differ from that of her siblings or extended family members, it is uniquely hers, a testament to her ability to honor her heritage while forging her own way. Looking ahead, Jill's experience serves as an inspiration to other parents grappling with similar decisions. Whether choosing public school, private school, or homeschooling, the key lies in finding what works best for your family. For Jill, homeschooling provides the perfect balance of structure, flexibility, and faith-based guidance, enabling her to raise confident, compassionate individuals equipped to face the world. In the end, Jill Duggar's story reminds us that parenting is rarely a one-size-fits-all endeavor. It is a dynamic process shaped by personal beliefs, practical realities, and the ever-changing needs of our children. Through her courage, creativity, and conviction, Jill embodies the spirit of a devoted mother, striving to give her family the very best, not just academically, but spiritually and emotionally as well. The circumstances surrounding this particular excursion were notably different from any other family gathering Jana had experienced. This marked her first extended period away from home since her marriage, and more significantly, her first opportunity to immerse herself fully in her husband's family environment. Unlike the structured and familiar patterns of her parents' household, this journey promised unfamiliar territory, new customs, different communication styles, and a distinct approach to family interactions that stretched beyond the boundaries of her childhood experiences. As Jana prepared for this adventure, she carried with her not only the weight of her own expectations, but also those inherited from her upbringing. The Duggar family's well-documented emphasis on traditional values and close-knit family bonds had shaped her perspective on relationships and family life. Yet, she found herself standing at the threshold of a new world, where these familiar frameworks would be challenged and expanded by an entirely different set of family dynamics. This impending encounter with her in-laws represented more than just a vacation. It was a crucial step in her personal evolution and integration into a new family structure. The initial days of Jana's journey unfolded against the backdrop of picturesque landscapes and carefully planned excursions, yet beneath the surface lay a complex tapestry of cultural differences that began to reveal themselves almost immediately. The most striking contrast emerged during mealtimes, where her in-laws' casual approach to dining etiquette stood in sharp contrast to the formal, ritualistic meals she had grown accustomed to in her parents' home. While the Duggar family traditionally gathered around the table for precisely timed meals, complete with specific seating arrangements and prayer rituals, Jana observed her in-laws embracing a more fluid approach, often eating at different times and locations throughout the day. Communication styles presented another significant departure from her expectations. Growing up in a household where directness and clear expression of thoughts were valued, Jana found herself navigating a family dynamic where subtle hints and indirect communication predominated. Her mother-in-law, in particular, demonstrated a preference for conveying messages through gentle suggestions rather than explicit statements, requiring Jana to develop a heightened sensitivity to nuanced verbal cues and body language. This difference in communication methodology initially led to several humorous misunderstandings, particularly when Jana interpreted polite refusals as genuine rejections of her offers to help with household tasks. Perhaps the most surprising revelation came in observing how her in-laws balanced their work-life commitments. Unlike the Duggar family's practice of maintaining strict separation between business and personal time, Jana's new family seamlessly integrated professional responsibilities with family activities. She watched in fascination as her father-in-law conducted conference calls while helping prepare dinner, and her mother-in-law responded to work emails during family game nights, practices that would have been considered disruptive in her parents' home. These observations challenged Jana's preconceived notions about proper family conduct and prompted her to reconsider her own ideas about work-life balance. Daily routines revealed further distinctions in lifestyle approaches. The spontaneous nature of her in-laws' schedule, characterized by impromptu outings and flexible plans, contrasted sharply with the Duggar family's methodical approach to daily activities. Even the concept of family time took on a different character, with her in-laws emphasizing quality over quantity and often engaging in parallel activities rather than collective ones. This realization forced Jana to expand her understanding of family bonding beyond the structured group activities she had known growing up. As the trip progressed, Jana found herself caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions, each interaction with her in-laws triggering a cascade of internal responses that ranged from excitement to anxiety. The initial thrill of discovery gradually gave way to moments of self-doubt, particularly when confronted with situations that challenged her deeply ingrained beliefs and habits. During one memorable evening, she found herself surreptitiously checking her phone for reassurance after a particularly confusing exchange with her mother-in-law, her heart racing as she processed the unspoken implications behind seemingly innocuous comments. The emotional roller coaster manifested itself most acutely during meal preparations, where Jana's natural inclination to follow established recipes clashed with her in-laws' improvisational cooking style. She vividly recalled the tightness in her chest as she watched her mother-in-law casually substitute ingredients and adjust measurements, a practice that felt almost sacrilegious given her own rigid adherence to culinary precision. These moments of tension were often followed by waves of guilt as she questioned whether her discomfort stemmed from legitimate concerns or merely resistance to change. Particularly challenging were the instances when Jana's attempts to contribute were met with polite redirection. When she offered to organize the day's schedule, a task she had mastered in her parents' home, she was gently steered toward more spontaneous planning methods. The rejection of her organizational skills, though kindly delivered, triggered a flood of memories from her childhood, where such abilities had been consistently praised and rewarded. She found herself oscillating between defensive pride and reluctant acceptance, her mind replaying past successes while simultaneously acknowledging the validity of alternative approaches. The cumulative effect of these experiences began to wear on Jana's emotional reserves. Nights spent lying awake, processing the day's events, became increasingly common. She wrestled with feelings of inadequacy, wondering if her inability to seamlessly adapt marked her as inflexible or judgmental. Yet, amidst these struggles, moments of clarity emerged, brief but powerful realizations that her emotional responses were not signs of failure, but rather indicators of growth. Each challenge, though emotionally taxing, pushed her toward a deeper understanding of herself and her capacity for adaptation. These emotional trials reached their peak during a family discussion about future holiday celebrations. As differing opinions about tradition and modernization collided, Jana found herself caught between loyalty to her upbringing and appreciation for her in-laws' perspectives. The tension in her voice betrayed her inner conflict as she attempted to articulate her thoughts, her words catching in her throat as she navigated this delicate balance. It was in these moments of vulnerability that she began to recognize the true depth of her emotional journey, understanding that growth often emerges from the most uncomfortable experiences. As the trip progressed into its second week, Jana discovered unexpected opportunities for connection that transcended their initial differences. During a morning walk along the beach, she found herself engaged in a deep conversation with her mother-in-law about gardening techniques, a shared passion that neither had anticipated. The discussion naturally flowed from practical tips about soil composition to broader topics of sustainability and environmental stewardship, revealing a mutual commitment to responsible living that bridged their generational gap. This conversation sparked a collaborative project where they combined their knowledge to create a hybrid gardening approach, blending Jana's systematic methods with her mother-in-law's intuitive expertise. Her relationship with her father-in-law evolved through their shared interest in photography. What began as casual snapshots during family outings transformed into joint exploration of landscape photography techniques. Jana's technical proficiency complemented his artistic eye, resulting in stunning images that captured both the beauty of their surroundings and the developing harmony between them. These photographic excursions created natural opportunities for meaningful discussions about life experiences and values, allowing them to find common ground in their appreciation for capturing life's moments. Sibling bonds formed unexpectedly through music, as Jana discovered her sister-in-law's talent for playing the piano matched her own vocal abilities. Their impromptu duets in the evenings became a highlight of the trip, drawing the entire family together in shared appreciation. These musical sessions served as a universal language that transcended their different backgrounds, creating moments of pure connection that required no words. The laughter and camaraderie that followed these performances helped solidify their relationship, proving that shared creative expression could overcome even the most entrenched differences. Perhaps the most significant breakthrough came during a community service project the family undertook together. Working side by side at a local food bank, Jana witnessed firsthand how her in-laws' approach to volunteer work aligned with her own family's values of service and community support. Though their methods differed, her in-laws favored a more informal, hands-on approach compared to her family's organized system. The underlying commitment to helping others proved identical. This shared experience provided a tangible foundation for understanding and respect, demonstrating that different approaches could achieve similar noble goals. These moments of connection served as catalysts for deeper conversations about family traditions and values. Over late-night cups of tea, Jana found herself opening up about her childhood experiences while learning about her in-laws' own family histories. These exchanges revealed surprising parallels in their core beliefs, despite outward differences in expression. They discovered that many of their apparent disagreements stemmed from semantic differences rather than fundamental conflicts, leading to a newfound appreciation for each other's perspectives. The transformation in their relationship became evident in small but significant ways. Jana noticed how her initial hesitation to embrace her in-laws' spontaneity gradually gave way to genuine enjoyment of their flexible approach to life. Likewise, her in-laws began incorporating elements of her structured methodology into their routines, finding value in the organization and planning she brought to family activities. This mutual adaptation demonstrated the power of open-mindedness and willingness to learn from each other, creating a blended family culture that honored both traditions while forging something entirely new. Reflecting on her journey, Jana recognized that her experiences with her in-laws transcended mere adjustments to different family customs. The trip had fundamentally altered her perception of interpersonal relationships and personal growth. She realized that her initial focus on identifying differences had blinded her to the potential for mutual enrichment that diverse perspectives offer. This newfound understanding extended beyond family dynamics, influencing her approach to all social interactions. The ability to navigate varying communication styles, adapt to different lifestyles, and appreciate alternative viewpoints emerged as essential life skills rather than mere accommodations for family harmony. The most profound impact manifested in Jana's enhanced emotional intelligence. Her struggle to reconcile conflicting emotions taught her the value of sitting with discomfort rather than immediately seeking resolution. She learned to view emotional challenges not as obstacles to overcome, but as opportunities for deeper understanding, both of herself and others. This shift in perspective enabled her to approach future relationships with greater empathy and patience, recognizing that everyone carries their own set of learned behaviors and expectations that shape their interactions. Professionally, Jana discovered that the adaptability she cultivated during the trip translated directly to her work environment. Just as she had learned to interpret subtle cues from her in-laws, she found herself better equipped to navigate office politics and understand colleagues' unspoken needs. The experience of balancing different approaches to work-life integration provided her with valuable insights into managing team dynamics and fostering collaboration among diverse working styles. Her improved ability to bridge gaps between contrasting methodologies proved invaluable in her career advancement. Perhaps most significantly, Jana's journey fostered a deeper appreciation for the complexity of human relationships. She came to understand that meaningful connections require more than tolerance of differences. They demand active engagement with those differences. This realization inspired her to pursue additional education in interpersonal communication and conflict resolution, transforming her personal growth into professional development. The skills she acquired through navigating her in-laws' family dynamics became foundational tools for building stronger relationships across all aspects of her life, from friendships to professional networks.